very good morning and welcome to Sunrise. I am Alero Edu.
And it's a Saturday morning. I'm Ayo Makinde. Good morning and welcome. Hope you have your cup of cocoa already, somewhere close by. Or is it cocoa you prefer? Your choice. Just need to be educated in the kind of cocoa or cocoa or cocoa. What?
He started that cocoa conversation again, or cocoa. But I'm not going to go there. I'm going to tell you something which actually will affect your life. You know, they say you should go to your local government office or go to INEC office or wherever else we've been told to go to check that if you have a PVC, that is, go check that your name is actually on the register. We're preparing for 2023 already, and like we've been told time and time again, this election is going to be a game changer. Mm-hmm. Many young people have gone out to register, many for the first time in their lives. Do they have their PVCs? Are they duly registered? So, if you want to make sure that you're duly registered and ready for next year, you need to go to either those places you've been told to go to, but I have an easier option to that. You don't have to go anywhere. Just pick up your tablet, your phone, or whatever.
Even if your computer.
And go to cvr.inecnigeria.org.
That's it on your screen.
cvr.inecnigeria.org. Follow the prompts.
Mm-hmm. You choose your states. Choose your local government. Choose your polling unit, if you know your polling unit.
And then put in the first letter of your last name.
Yes. No, you don't even need to put it. Everything will be displayed. And
Thank you.
Confirm that you are not a robot.
And you are on without never.
So that's it. Once you have all of that, check anyone. You know, once you of course you have to first of all register on the site. You can use your email address on the site, and once you have been able to pick it and tick the box that says I'm not a robot, you'll be able to see a display of the voters in the unit, in the same unit with you, and you can check for anyone else actually, because that's how easy that has been. So if you have aged parents or dependents who cannot check for themselves, and some of those details, their state, their local government, their polling unit, even if it's a description of the polling unit, because most of the polling units don't have number 1 Alero Streets off Edu Close. You can just hear in front of Coyote Street. Some of those things.
So primary school.
Yes. So, and then once you tick the box, that's it. It's displayed for you right there. All the voters in a particular
name, pictures,
polling
everything.
unit. Names, pictures, and if you click on any of them, it gives you a display of some other information about any of those identities, those publications that you see on the screen there. They'll be able to tell you. So it's easy. It's something that you can easily do. If you can't find your name on the first page, on the bottom right of the page, it says next. Or previous. And that's it right there on the screen, as you can see.
Guess what? It works, because that's how I checked mine.
And yes, you said something about those who have their PVCs. Even if you don't have your PVC now, and you are fully registered, you are sure that you are registered, and you have been given a date to come and collect your PVC, yes, it'll be there. Because I don't have my PVC yet. I've been told to come October. I went again in November. I'm told to come in December. I will go.
But Mr. Okoye has said that everybody who registered before October
yes,
will get their
PVCs. And
that's cheering news.
Absolutely. And there are some who registered and may not. So that's it. I mean, the expanded information. If you want to make a claim or you want to
make a
one thing or the
correction.
other. You said something about moving your location.
Yes.
From one place to the other.
Yes.
And it was done without you even hearing from INEC.
I did it online. I didn't hear from them, but yesterday I decided to check if I was there, and bingo.
You're closer home than you don't have to travel to
I don't have to cross the bridge. No. Bingo. So, it's been changed.
Yeah, all of that for you right there on your phone. You can do it right now. cvr.inecnigeria.org. If you want /register, and then you'll be able to check your voter register to be sure where you are located right there.
One headline caught my eye in the course of the week, which was very disheartening indeed, about 133 million people having been plunged into poverty.
Nigeria.
In Nigeria.
No, say it better. 133 million Nigerians living in multidimensional poverty.
Also known as another adjective to describe it is abject poverty.
Now, the education...
And that is not... I mean, it's painful.
You know, we had this conversation yesterday with the Statistician General, Mr. Adeniran, who said, look, part of the conversation goes along the line of when you say multidimensional poverty, what dimensions? Health dimension, education dimension, work dimension, security dimension. Those are the four major pillars. And said that in Sokoto State, Sokoto State has the worst case of multidimensional poverty in Nigeria, while Ondo State has the least of 20. Sokoto State is 91%, 27% in Ondo State being the least. And he now said, that's ascribed to Mr. Agua, Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, saying that you could have extreme, a dimension of poverty in housing, for instance, in Ondo, and not have the same dimension of poverty in, say, Rivers or Bayelsa and stuff like that. So it helps us to know, what areas what specifically needed more of.
In which area?
In which area.
Okay.
And they said that they conducted the research across the 109 senatorial districts in Nigeria. And that's very, very cheering for me, as you said. At least now we know.
Yes.
Question
so we got to do something about
Don't forget that we're having census next year.
Yeah.
Now we know at least an average of the number of people that are having serious issues. Now that's for adults, right?
And what area those issues are.
What area those issues are. Work, school, health, education, work, and security. That is for the general, group, right? I saw another report. This was published in May this year. That's described that 57-point-something% of children are living in multidimensional poverty.
That is even more painful.
Now, the part of the
and it said 14 million children suffer acute malnutrition. Acute.
Let me give you the information that, because when I saw it, I was like, look, what is going on here? Exactly what are we dealing with here? Maybe we don't even know the issues we are dealing with. Now, the key findings for child poverty in Nigeria by dimension, there's nutrition, education, water, and sanitation. Those are the things. Okay, no, so this is another one. This is for nutrition. We'll come to this in a bit, but it's related. Because one of the legs of multidimensional poverty for children is nutrition, which says, according to this report published in June this year, that the nutrition dimension presents a derivation rate of 33% among children between 0 to 4 years. More than 9 out of 10 children aged 0 to 5 months old, that's 95.2%, are not exclusively breastfed, among several other things. Now, aping the slide that was shown us earlier, that the major problem of children's multidimensional poverty in Nigeria is nutrition. Nutrition is number one. And I attended this meeting yesterday, I mentioned to you, where the National Council on Nutrition was saying that from UNICEF research says that we every hour in Nigeria, 100 children die.
Every hour.
I'm sure that you still see the same slide on your screen shortly, and it was very, 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 very shocking. So when I saw the slide, and I had to at some point say, look, can I say something? I don't even know. I don't even think we understand the severity of the situation. Multiply 100 by, that's it on the screen, multiply 100 by 24. I've not even done the math. I'm afraid to do the math. How many children die in an hour? 100. How many die in a day? Multiply that by 24 hours. Multiply that result by 30.
A month.
Now, multiply that by 12 for a whole year. We have serious issues on our hands, and I think, it's about time we really gave concern to them.
Children are dying like flies.
So compare that with the figure you hear about the multidimensional poverty in the country. It is only natural that 133 million Nigerians, more than 50% of Nigerians living in poverty, most certainly something very, very concerning. Question then is, now that we have this result, and federal government knows about it, states know about it, what are we going to do about it? How, Alero, will this be a political campaign issue? President said 2-3 years ago that we're going to collaborate between federal and state governments to pull 100 million Nigerians out of poverty over 10 years. How is that going to happen if we don't collaborate? Very, very concerning, right? But there it is.
In spite of what he said, more and more people are being plunged into poverty. Christmas is coming. I shudder to think what people are going to eat. Christmas used to be a happy time for children. I don't think it's a happy time anymore. What are they going to eat? How much is a bag of rice now? I hear a bag of rice is about 50,000 naira. So they can't even get to eat that one thing that they look forward to eating on Christmas Day. Finally, I'm going to get to eat rice.
The worst case we understand is in Sokoto. And, if you look at the document as published by the federal government, the North, the regions of the North seem to have far worse cases on their hands. Also, relating to what the former CBN governor also said, saying that, look, why do we have such cases of extreme poverty in the North? It's not that we don't have
the richest are there, the poorest are there.
So it's I don't know.
Extreme ends of the spectrum.
So we have, now we know, and this is a federal government conducted research, even though they partnered with some other, international organizations. It's a federal government research, and it has been done. Now we know. How are the states going to receive it? That's another conversation altogether, because the Statistician General said they are looking forward to a meeting with the state governments to see how they can, drill down and find out, how to help each other.
Well, we're going to be hoping that in the days and months to come, we're going to see serious action in this area, because we can't sit back and watch children being born and 100 of them dying every single day. Every single hour, I'm sorry. Even a day is bad enough.
I'm telling you, it's horrible. So
then, of course, there are issues of infant mortality. That's another conversation altogether. Maternal care, maternal mortality, especially childbirth,
So I think for me,
our problems are myriad.
So just as you have said, I think it's an opportunity for Nigerians located in every state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria who are going to vote to interrogate the persons they want to employ as their governors, as their members of the Houses of Assembly, and all those things.
Are we that circumspect?
That's the thing.
We are
now
so
we know.
poor, 133 million of us living in abject poverty. So 1,000 naira means a lot. We take the 1,000 naira, we're not going to remember all these questions. Well, we will choose not to remember. 1,000 naira has blinded our vision.
And that's very sad. But it's our reality. However, those of us who know need to let those who don't know the implication of just 1,000 naira for 4 years, because that's what it means.
But here is the thing. That is the reason why poverty has been weaponized.
Oh, okay. It
is done on purpose.
I guess you have
by
a point
these
there.
same leaders who are supposed to be looking into these issues we're talking about. How eager will they be to get you out of poverty so that their 5,000 naira or their one loaf of bread doesn't impress you at the next election?
Well, as that song goes, the answer, my friend,
is right.
Oh, God. Anyway, so where do we go from here? We go to the menu first.
Yes, we're going to start by looking at towards a safer Nigeria. You know, the president said something and that has, you know, snowballed into all kinds of other things being said and other areas being looked at, the way these things happen.
And we'll also look at Human Development Index. That's another issue that became interesting in the course of the week, but we'll focus on the Education Index today.
And then a school is having an endowment fund. St. Saviour's School in Ikoyi, they're launching their endowment fund. You know,
as a joke when I was growing up, endowment fund is decrypted into endowment fund.
Dawo.
Dawo.
Of course, it's Dawo now. Correct.
Lifestyle today, we'll be looking at fashion and styling. And why do you wear what you wear? Why should you wear what you should?
Why does something look good on Ayo and it doesn't look good on Ade?
What I ordered versus what I got.
And then we shall close with the Artist of the Week segment. And all I can tell you right now is that she is a she.
Well, it is not a he that you are seeing on the screen. It's a she.
It's a she.
So that's a wrong script. All right, so that's it this morning, and that's our lineup. We hope you will be able to join us until the end. If at any point you're unable to see us on your screen, just go to YouTube. We'll be right there for you. In the meantime, grab your cup of cocoa. Okay.
Thank you for staying with us. Now let's get the show on the road. I assure Nigerians that I will leave Nigeria a safer country at the end of my tenure in May 2023. That is attributed to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, General Muhammadu Buhari. Of course, that has prompted all kinds of reactions. Oh, so you've been there for more than 7 years. You haven't been able to do anything. How come you're assuring us now that within 1 year you're going to do some kind of magic? Well, whether we are questioning what he said or not, what he said is welcome news to all of us. It's just that we have question marks after it because we're wondering how he's going to do it all in less than 1 year. We have specialists who are going to look at this with us this morning and tell us if they actually see a safer Nigeria ahead of us in the near future. It's my pleasure to welcome Colonel Yomi Dari, a security expert who is in the studio with us this morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me around.
And we also have a security analyst who is joining us via Zoom, Mr. Bayo Oluwake. Good morning, Mr. Oluwake.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So, I think I'm going to do something unusual on this program this morning. I'm going to start with Mr. Oluwake. I'm going to start from Zoom.
I think we should start with let's start with Cornel Dari. He's the expert, right? If you don't mind, because I know that your question has been reserved for Mr. Oluwake, but let me ask you, when you heard, well, of course, the president was launching the appeal for the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, you know, and all of that. When you heard it, how did it sound to you? I'm going to leave Nigeria a safer country come 2023 if I leave office. How did it come across to you?
Thank you very much. Well, for me, I look at the issue as being subjective. Subjective in the sense that it depends on, what side of the divide you are and viewing this security situation. It's just like the soldier in the forefront. You cannot talk better about the experience there to him when you are, at the safer zone. So we all know what we experienced before this administration came into power. I mean, I remember saying in this studio that if we are not careful, you can even be hearing something happening outside the studio. I mean, maybe some people are coming to march on this place. But all that, stopped. There's no doubt that a lot has happened. But again, there's conspiracy theory. And of course, the political angle to it. We have, as it is today, APC is a government in power. And then, of course, we have the people who are juggling and trying to come into. So with everyone trying to say something, against the order. And of course, right now the issue of hate speech is being, activated and saying that we must be very careful about our comments, such that we should address issues. Looking at the security situation in this country, we must also realize that the population and growth of Nigeria, say 10 years ago, cannot be compared to what we have today. I'm talking about demographic, demographic. So these are some of the things, as we evolve, as we develop, you have a lot of things to contend with. Please mark my words. I am not saying that everything is okay, but I think that there's still light at the end of the tunnel.
That is, if the tunnel is not vandalized.
Well,
the statement of the president raised the question of whether or not the president himself thinks Nigeria is vulnerable at this time. I mean, you have cited a number of things. I mean, there are those who would also, kindly or fairly remember that things may not be as, at least the reporting of insecurity is not as bad as it used to be. We understand that a number of things are always going on. The police, all security agencies doing one thing or the other to ensure safety of Nigerians and all of that. So, but I'm asking is especially concerning the statement of the president. What made the president to say that in the first place? I know we'll be going to our Zoom guest shortly, but I just want to ask, what do you think made the president to say that? Is it that the president himself feels that Nigerians don't feel safe, or is it that he has doubts that people are satisfied with the level of insecurity? I don't know what you make of it from, talking from a military perspective.
Well, if I have to answer your question directly, which I'm really going to do right now, You see, there's what you call, leadership. And I believe at this point in time that the president is probably, remembering and wearing his cap of leadership, the doctrine of leadership, because you must continue, to assure the followers, your followers, that look, I'll be there for you and things will get better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Loake, the president assures us that things are going to change in the near future. And this is, we're approaching the end of November. Christmas is coming, and you know our way of life in Nigeria. We like to move around at Christmas and spend Christmas with our families. From the president's assurances, do you think that we should take his word for it and move around with confidence over the festive period which is almost upon us?
Well, I think that the president is in a phase where he is beginning to think of his legacy. And one cardinal point for him of free and fair elections and being able to successfully midwife another successful transition to his successor. And of course, to be able to do that, there must be security. We need security to be able to have political campaigns, and we also need security to be able to go and vote, and of course to get the voting process to be conclusive. So if you look at it from that standpoint, I would say yes, we can take his word for it, because without security there will not be a successful transition, and delivering a successful transition now will be critical for assuring the legacy of President Buhari.
Mr. Loake, sorry, you are a...
just like to add to that, we will see some concrete steps being taken to back up the assurance that the president has given in order to bolster confidence amongst the population.
Yeah, Mr. Loake, you are a security analyst. From all that you see, do you think that we can afford to take those words for granted? From all your analysis, from all the things you see with elections coming and everything?
I think so, because, for example, the elections that we are going to have, usually when elections are forthcoming, you see the police doubling up their acts. In a lighter mood, I always say that I hardly see police helicopters, but when elections are around the corner, you see police helicopters in the sky. So the police normally increase their surveillance, their deployments, and so on and so forth, when elections are approaching. And also when we have a transition from one year to another. So now we're going from 2020 to 2023. We're going to have a Christmas, New Year. We know the step of security as well. But like I said earlier, that what will be interesting and instructive will be for us to see certain concrete steps being taken. And if you allow me, I would just like to quickly make some suggestions as to the kind of concrete steps that we need to be taken.
But before you get to the suggestions, just a second, Mr. Aluwake, before you get to the suggestions, one of the questions that naturally comes to me is, exactly what are we talking about here when we talk about an unsafe environment or insecurity? Gratifyingly, we're not having cases of kidnapping in the quantum that we used to have it, almost every month or almost every week or almost every 2 weeks at some point. That's generally tapered down. The kind of banditry that we were having, farmer-herdsman clashes, thankfully we are not getting that now, at least not as much as we used to have it. Any case of it is bad enough, but thankfully not as bad as it used to be. So perhaps there are dimensions of insecurity that we are not seeing right now? Because the most vulnerable sets of people, when we talk about insecurity, are not in the urban areas of the country. They are in the hinterlands. They are in the rural areas. So do you think we have a good grasp of the real issues when we talk about insecurity, especially in those areas?
I lost you for most of the time because of the connection.
Okay.
But I think I got some of the points you're trying to make. That you suggested that we might have seen some slight reduction in cases of banditry and the kidnappings.
But the question,
if I got that correctly,
yes.
And this we can easily attribute to the renewed onslaught of air assets. But there are certain things that I feel, especially to protect people in rural communities and in what you might call ungoverned spaces. Because in the cities, of course, you see the deployment of security forces. But when you go out of the cities, either on the highways, in the hinterland, in the rural communities, such deployments may not be as strong as they should be.
Okay.
I think we should recognize something, which is that by the admission of the police itself, we have an argument. We have roughly 400,000 police officers. Okay.
Well, we need to work on that connection, Mr. Luwake.
Carrying out what is called VIP duties. They are tied from the time of President Obasanjo. I remember President Obasanjo gave instructions twice or thrice to withdraw all those police officers. Up till as we are speaking now, no government since 1999 has been able to withdraw those police officers. So my position is that if we've not been able to withdraw these police officers to 206 million people, that is absolutely inadequate. And that is indicative of the lapses and the gaps that we see in our security landscape. So for me, it's better to just accept that we are going to have to keep 150,000 police officers to either political appointees or highly exposed, additional 150,000 to replace them. And then to get those to whom these 150,000 have been deployed to pay.
Okay, well,
services.
We'll try to work on the audio, Mr. Luwake, so that we can hear you better. And certainly this looks like a network issue, but we'll try to work on that and hopefully, get you back and have clearer audio for those very valid contributions that you're making. Okanodare, I mean, you heard some of the issues that he has raised. One can say, to borrow one of the most popular words in the course of the week, insecurity is multidimensional. I've heard that word quite a number of times this week, and so it's become like that now. We started by chatting around the revelation from the federal government that Nigerians, 133 million Nigerians, are living in what they call multidimensional poverty. And security experts such as yourself have often told us that poverty is an enabler of insecurity. So if the president says he wants to leave the country safer, what does that suggest to you in the light of the fact that I don't know how we can pull 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by May next year?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I think the president's statement is highly subjective, and another angle is looking at it from, the perspective of poverty, getting the you know, the majority out of poverty. For me, I think it's just work in progress, and there's a lot that needs to be done. Well, again, you see, some of these things, when it comes to security, some of these things are not maybe like the efforts, the things the government is working on. They're not things that you come out in the public, you know, to discuss, you know. So I'd like to, you know, concede it to the president that something is really being worked out, especially, you know, at the National Security Council level.
But you know, the president had said something more than once, quite a few times, that security agencies need to work a lot together.
Yeah.
That integration, we seem to have a tough time getting that done. It would seem like at the top, security agencies, they cooperate, they collaborate, they talk in the control rooms, command centers, and all of that. The military talk with the police, the army, navy, and all of that. NSCDC, the Nigerian Legion, all of them talk. Immigration, customs, NDLEA, FRSC, they all talk because they are all security agencies, as we have military and paramilitary, as we have been told. But then it would seem like the collaboration does not, the information about collaboration does not always drill down to the lowest levels. We have heard a top military officer say, I can't remember who in particular now, say that when it comes to security, domestically, the police takes the forefront. But in peculiar cases, the military will have to be a little, you know, stronger, soften the situation before bringing back the police into it. So that collaboration thing, which the president often talks about, how do you see it helping to do exactly what the president has done, in the light of the fact that he has said it more than once, that there is a need for that collaboration, for that integration, but it doesn't seem to happen as effectively?
Yeah, well, it's a common knowledge, you know, and it still behoves on the various security organizations to indoctrinate, you know, their men. Okay, like you rightly identified, at the top, yes, I mean, the commissioners of police, the commanders of units, they meet together, especially at the state level, you know, where you have both top men being members of the state security committee or security council. Okay, they meet, you know, but unfortunately, these things don't, you know, percolate, they don't go down, you know, and that's what we really need to work on. You know, we really need to work on.
What do you think makes that happen?
We've had cases. Yes, it's again, you find some kind of rivalry. You know, you've had cases. Thank God, lately we haven't recorded much. You've had cases. You remember there was one that happened at the Surulere Police division, where soldiers went there and then burnt down, you know, the whole place. And, you know, it started just between other ranks, the lower cadre. So there's needs to work hard on the lower cadre, you know. You really need to work hard on the lower cadre. And you see, it's very, very clear. Like you also rightly identified, internal security is the ball game of the police. Okay? And it's only when the police become overwhelmed that they call in the military. But once there's an issue, and of course there's what you call internal security operations. You know, they do rehearsals, trainings together. Okay. Okay, they demonstrate, do trainings together. They simulate crisis, simulate crisis with people in one corner creating chaos, and then the police, they go there, they try to quell it, and then the police, they get overwhelmed, and then right there, the police commander is reporting to his headquarters, and the headquarters there is calling on the military commander, Well, most times the military, they are already, on standby, to come in. So that is the drill. But again, that was then, because where we are now, things have moved. Even the bandits, the insurgents, the criminals, they are also getting sophisticated. So those kind of training, those exercises are becoming, kind of elementary. So they need to move further, to move ahead. So in most cases, you even find out that the police, they don't even show their faces. And then the army just goes in there. And for me, it's a big challenge because it's affecting a lot. Ordinarily, the military should be, outside of all this. The military should be training, and coordinating at higher levels, But right now, what you find is the military, at roadblocks, And for me, again, that has its own,
downside.
Downside. You just start wondering. You travel on the highway, you see a very long, endless queue. What is going on here? Of course, I mean, the boys are just there and looking at the people and telling who they wish to pass. I mean, because once the criminals come around, they won't even go through those queues. They probably come in,
blast their way through. Guns blazing. But Colonel, let me take you back a little bit to the connection between poverty and criminality or insecurity. Research has shown us, the latest research from
the federal government.
From the federal government says that 133 million people have been plunged into poverty. As a result of poverty, there will be increased criminality, obviously, because people are hungry, and many of them, we have seen many criminals confess, it's not that I wanted to do it, but I was hungry. Are we not going to get more criminals in a situation like this, when more than half the population is living in abject poverty?
Yeah, that's a reasonable analysis, But again, we are looking at a situation where, people know the obvious result of criminality. Okay, the obvious results of criminality. So, I mean, you have to try as much as possible not to be involved in criminality. You have to make a conscious effort, okay? And then everything boils down again to values, to home bringing. You find people in this same climb that will tell you that rather than steal, I will accept to be poor, rather than just drag the name of my family into the mud. I will, rather remain poor. But even at that, even people that are not even suffering poverty, the records have shown that they've been involved in serious crimes. I don't want to start mentioning names. Even people from supposedly well-to-do families or homes, and then the greed, the human nature thing. You just want to. It's just like the other guy who who was employed as a driver, and then at the end of the day, started kidnapped his master's award, or wife or son, and then
certainly something very, very concerning. But
yes,
I don't even know where to begin. You wanted to ask Mr. Loake a question.
Yes, Mr. Loake, what are your thoughts about 133 million people, that is more than half of our population, living in poverty. Is that not going to increase our security problems?
Definitely, poverty contributes significantly to the, the stability of the country in many respects. Of course, if it does trigger an imbalance in the socioeconomic system, triggering poverty or underemployment, and so on and so forth. In our environment, there are a lot of very clear indicators that we were heading in this direction. First of all, if you look at the industrial capacity in the country and we check how many of our factories are actually operating at an optimum level, we have, I don't know what the capacity utilization is now with the factories, but I assume, if I would make an intelligent guess, probably 45% on the average, and maybe at the very best for some companies who probably have most of their raw materials in the country, maybe 50-55%. But I think generally it's about 45%. And then only few people are employed, of course, in that sector. The bulk of our population are still farmers. They are not farmers, they are fishermen. Now, if they are farmers, we know what the security situation has caused for the bread basket of the country, the middle belt and the north, so it's very, very clear, that the negative economic indicators and situation has, of course, triggered this frightening level of poverty that you were referring to at the beginning of the program. I think citing a total of about 133 million Nigerians now in that bracket. And drastic measures really need to be taken from now, because otherwise the efforts of the security agencies to contain the threats to the country will be undermined, if there's no corresponding effort to significantly reduce the poverty. And I think this is where those who are campaigning for political office in the next dispensation need to be taken to task in very graphic terms as to what exactly they want to do. Because whether we like it or not, the administration of President Buhari is on its way out. And therefore, many Nigerians would rather now be looking at those who are aspiring to come in. And this is when we need to ask questions about what they need to do to redress the significant challenge we have.
Well, Mr. Loake, you wanted to make some suggestions earlier about what we need to do towards a safer Nigeria. What are your thoughts? I know that you suggested earlier, that we need to first of all withdraw police, should I say, orderlies from, some VIPs. And that, according to you, hasn't been done over the past, how many administrations since 1999? That's one. What are your other considerations, things we need to do urgently if by 2023 May, the president will be leaving a safer Nigeria as he promised?
Thank you very much. The threats we have been facing in Nigeria are largely internal. They are not external. Although there are external there could be external dimensions, but the threats have been largely internal. And because they've been largely internal, the security agencies that really are constitutionally primed to deal with these internal threats are number one, the DSS, and number two, the police. Now, this administration of President Buhari has done a lot to re-equip the armed forces and to increase the number of the armed forces. But I feel that a lot should be done to do the same thing for the police and the DSS. Do we have enough police officers? We know we don't have. The police mobile force, for example, is designed to deal with situations beyond normal law enforcement. And we saw, for example, during EndSARS, I hardly saw the police mobile force anywhere. Now, the population of Nigeria has almost, it's still 206 million, like we said. is the police mobile force, the way it is presently constituted, with the orientation that it has, with the number of personnel that it has, with the equipment that it has, designed to respond to this threat. Because if we don't address this problem, we will keep deploying the army. And we should not be deploying the army to deal with things like NSAS and all those kind of situations. It should be the regular law enforcement or the police mobile force. Number two, we've invested a lot of money on the rail network, but we have not invested money in upgrading the Nigeria Police Railway Command. Because the Nigeria Police Railway Command is designed to provide security for the entire rail system in the country. It's a specialized unit. I have not seen from open sources analysis anything being done to upgrade the Nigerian Railway Mobile Command. Sorry, Nigerian Railway Police Command. We cannot be asking the Nigerian Air Force to patrol railway tracks. The Nigerian Air Force is a combat service. They can do this as a temporary measure, but we need the Police Railway Command as a matter of urgency to be revamped so that the rail systems can work again. Then, of course, the Nigeria Police Maintenance Division. If the police are acquiring drones, as I expect them to be doing, to reduce the cost of putting helicopters in the sky and so on and so forth, who are the guys who will maintain those drones? Okay, so if the Police Maintenance Division is not strong enough, we are not going anywhere. And by the way, those who advocate state police should understand that if the federal police cannot work, it is going to be difficult for state police to work because the mental attitude, the orientation, and the values are the same. So the equipment that we give to the police must last the lifespan of those equipment. If they will be breaking down every 3 months, every 6 months, I don't see how a state police force with the same orientation and values will do better than the federal police that we have now. So for me, those are the critical areas that this outgoing administration should be addressing. Police Mobile Force, Nigeria Police Railway Command, and the Police Maintenance Division. And I think more power should be given to the Inspector General. There should be clarity in the powers of the Inspector General of Police, the Police Service Commission, and the other units that provide oversight for the police in a way that not hamper the Inspector General from carrying out his function. And then the Department of State Services, because it's a secret service, in open sources we can't analyze its equipment holding and its personnel level and all of that. But I suspect that we have not invested as much as we should in the Department of State Services. If they cannot get intelligence, and by the way, the NSA, the National Security Advisor, just a day or two ago at the National Assembly, when he was defending the budget of his office, also alluded to the significance of intelligence. And that is the job of the DSS, at least as far as domestic intelligence is concerned. So this outgoing administration should do a lot.
Well, we've heard a lot about intelligence, that we are told that we have intelligence officers in all the local governments in the country. How well the intelligence they gather are used, perhaps that's another conversation. But I think Colonel Dare has some responses to some of the issues that you have raised. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I do agree with my brother, Mr. Oloake, on most of the issues that he raised, that, people should be allowed, to concentrate and, manage themselves. And especially on the part of the police. I think it's common knowledge that right now, the police have not been able to resolve, the issue on recruitment between the Inspector General of Police Office and the Police Commission. So that's still hanging there. And Nigerians are suffering. So what are we talking about here?
He also raised the issue of giving more powers to the IG.
Yes. On that note, I think I beg to disagree, a little bit here, because I am an advocate of state police. I think we should really give the state policing a seat, because as far as
you heard the concern he raised about, constituting state police with the same mentality of the federal police that we have.
It has to be a different mentality. And that is why this recruitment exercise must take place. It has to be a different mentality.
But the president doesn't really agree to state police at the point.
Well, the president doesn't have to agree.
He doesn't have a say.
The president doesn't have to agree. You know,
So I mean, if it's going to be in the constitution, he has to agree.
Well, the people have a right to review the constitution, and as we speak, the people are ready to vote in another president. Okay?
We're going to have to start all over again.
Yes, please.
What would you say to those who say that criminality is rife because more likely than not, you're not going to get caught if you commit a crime in Nigeria?
I think I won't, subscribe to that, in the sense that we need to really also step up, the law enforcement and then the judicial system.
But until we do that,
yes,
criminals are getting away with crime.
Well, not all criminals, but many
are getting away with crime.
And when we now even talk about the people getting away with crime, let's face it, it is the people who are stealing the billions.
Okay.
The question you want to ask is which people? But let me ask Mr. Oluwake something. Well, you talked about local government system the other time. I know that you work you've worked in your long years of career in doing what you do in security and all of that with people in underprivileged people all over the world. But speak to the case in Nigeria. How significant is that in the quest for a safer Nigeria? The people in the lower rung of the ladder, you've talked about what the federal government needs to do. Is there a role for the people themselves in ensuring a safer Nigeria? Because we can't leave it all to the federal government, can we?
Can you do that in 1 minute, please?
If I got you, say, what should we now as citizens do?
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Okay.
1 minute.
Just before I do that, let me just assure Colonel Are that I am in favor of state police. The point I was making was that we as Nigerians, the value and the orientation which affects our conduct, for example, inability to maintain equipment and services. If the federal police is not able to maintain equipment and services, they are Nigerians. So how would the state police, who are also Nigerians, have a better maintenance culture? So I was just raising that point to say that if we don't deal with those issues, even the state police will find it difficult to function. That's just the point I was making. But I'm for state police. Now, for Nigerians, especially as we go towards the Unitide, we are often not security conscious. And this is very unfortunate. Because there's no way that the security agency of any country is going to be able to work efficiently without the cooperation and support of its population. Let me give a very basic example. If you hire someone to work in your house, many Nigerians don't know where this person has come from. You have a guard in your house, you have a house help who somebody brought in from Benin Republic. You know the name is Genevieve. That's all you know. You don't know the surname. You don't know the address. There's no guarantor. Okay? And then whoever brought this person to you shows up only once a year. And then this person steals something from your house. And then you go to the police. You have no passport photograph. You have no other information whatsoever. And you expect the police to find this person. So we as Nigerians must be security conscious. Whoever we are admitting and hiring to work in our premises, we must have information, comprehensive information on such people. We must be aware of our environment. Strange faces in our environment, we need to be able to raise the alarm. We need to know who to call and when to call and to do it immediately. And not just ignore those things that are unusual, which happens around us. And we need to comply with advisories. Many people don't comply with advisories. There are parts of the country today where it is not still safe to travel at night. Even before banditry became bad, maybe because there's a sharp bend or whatever. And the Road Safety Commission or the police issues travel advisories. People don't respect them. They tell you don't travel beyond 6 p.m. Don't travel beyond 7 p.m. They don't respect them. So we need to begin to comply with these things, and it will help to reduce our exposure to insecurity.
Okay. Mr. Bayo Oluwake, I take it that even though earlier in the course of this discussion you had said that it was safe for us to travel and we should take the president's word for it, but you are now putting some caveats to that advice. That's the way I'm reading this. So that was Mr. Bayo Oluwake, security analyst, who joined us via Zoom, and we had in the studio Colonel Yomi Dari, who is a security expert. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
I thought you were going to take my last words.
That's what, unfortunately,
we run completely out of time. I'm sorry about that.
Okay,
thank you very much for joining us this
thank
morning.
You very much.
Sunrise will return in just a moment with another interesting discussion. Please join us.
You've certainly seen that as well before. Human Development Index. We've been hearing that for quite a bit. As far back as 2018, 7.2 million children, that's about 68.3% of children in Nigeria, were attending early education programs, which cover creches, nurseries, and kindergartens, according to Statista, whatever that means. You know, when you hear children that age going to school, question you wonder, in fact, people have wondered, what are they learning?
ABC. And
ABC.
1, 2, 3.
At age 6 months.
Well, I don't know about 6 months.
But you know, another troubling thing is that as of October 2022, almost 2 years after a number of things have happened, about 4 years after that one that you heard, about 20 million children are said to be out of school in Nigeria, according to UNICEF. This figure is a far-reaching increase from 10.5 million children recorded in 2020 by the same UNICEF. So this morning we want to talk around Human Development Index, but looking at the education dimension. I'm using that word dimension a lot, right? Because that's just the way it is. Well, two educationists join us this morning. Professor Abiola Awushika is an educationist of repute. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we also have an education technology expert, Dr. Adetola Salau, joining us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's the cap she wants to wear this morning, even though, as you can see, she's also essay to the governor of Lagos State on education. But that's not the cap she wants to wear this morning. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Madam, first of all, let me begin by asking, when we talk about human capital development, from what you see and know over the years, do you think we in Nigeria are giving education a pride of place as an instrument of human capital development?
I want to say no, just outright, just say no. However, I think as we realize that education is key, we quickly pump money in that direction, and I'll tell you why. 2016, maybe somebody's thought, we have a crisis, and you know, it's just like a marketing department in any business. Once they have a crisis, they cut the marketing budget, which is supposed to actually propel them to, you know, prosperity, but they cut it. So they do the same thing for the education budget. Once we have a crisis, you know, 2015, 2016, there's a crisis, and in fact, it plummeted. It was not even funny. It plummeted in 2016. And then gradually it started coming up as people were hammering and saying, look at what you are doing. Education is not getting the attention that it's supposed to get. If we want economic development, we have to have certain percentages in our schools so that at the right time, they graduate and they go into the market and we put them in jobs and then the economy grows and then the same. But take tertiary education. Only 1% of us are in the pipeline, getting ready to move this country where? Nowhere. And we should have at least 10%. So
at
that
any time.
At a time. And so we're not even close to that.
Dr. Salau.
Food for thought.
You won't even allow me to ask my question. Dr. Salau, hearing this, I mean, you've been in this space, and I know you are a STEM specialist sort of as well. Talking about policy, I have, let me not say studied, I have flipped through Nigeria's education policy, and I've said this countless times. I'm looking, I go only to the objectives, and I'm looking for something futuristic. I am looking for it. What does it say, okay, Nigeria is going to, where does it say Nigeria is going to be in education in the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? I don't see it. So perhaps that's where a number, I don't know if you have, you know, something different to say on this.
I do.
So,
okay. Yes, I am wearing the hat of Lagos State today. So I'm going to talk about what we've been doing. And I will say that we have been working specifically in that area in targeting things that have to do with the future. A lot of the indices, the research, yes, I'm a researcher too. A lot of the research has shown that education, I mean, definitely we can all see it. It's not just research alone. Education has moved from just the certificates, students going to school, coming out with those diplomas, but actually having skills when they are working in the workplace. The employers are demanding that. The marketplace, to quote Prof, the marketplace is demanding that. So we've been shifting to pushing our programs that are around skills for the students. And also we're going to be launching, in fact, this week that is coming up, we're going to be launching and heralding our scheme of work that we've been doing here in the States. And in that scheme of work, one of the things that we've constantly dwelled upon over and over and over are core skills, of which there are 4 that you always hear people talk about a lot: communication, critical thinking, mention communication, okay, what's the other one? Collaboration. Who am I missing right here? Creativity. Yes, there are 4 of them. We always harp on them. And in the schemes of work, we have activities that are targeted in making sure that each topic, somehow one of those skills is embedded, and the teachers are encouraged to carry out that activity with the students. For example, let's say I'm a math teacher, so I always like to talk math. I'm teaching quadratic equations to senior secondary. That's what I used to teach. And one of the things I would love for my students to do is, nowadays when you're working in the workplace, you don't work by yourself, you work with other people. So I would like to embed the skill collaboration. I'll give them a project around quadratic equations. I tell people quadratic equations in the real world are mortgages, projectile motion, things around that. I will give them a project around that and have them work together, have them do research, have them think together. Of course, that's also critical thinking right there too. So harping and pushing on those skills are something that we've been doing and we continue to do. A lot of the programs...
challenge, my apologies.
Yes.
The challenge that Professor Awushika raised is that we only see as a people, I'm not just talking about, I want you to speak as an expert in the field. I'm not just talking about what one government is doing, but I'm talking about the fact that, as she said, we only seem to react
that's an issue.
to these issues. We don't plan it. That's why I talked about the national policy on education. A state cannot, I don't know if it is possible, be too far from the national policy.
We have to follow the yardstick.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if there is nothing from my own naive perspective, something futuristic, is it any surprise then that parents who can afford to send their children out of Nigeria to school?
Okay. I get what you're saying and I get where you're coming from. Unfortunately, I can't speak about the national space. I can talk about what we are trying to do here.
Speak as an expert.
Yes, but as an expert, I have to say that yes, it's something, even when I was in private space and even where I am now, I mean, of course, I don't talk about it, but I talk about, okay, we're working. It's something that really disturbs me. And it's something that we need to do a lot more work on. Particularly, yes, because that's my own field, particularly in STEM. Because I think all the research that I've done shows that if you don't start planning 5, 10 years now, and then project that next generation, which is 15 years, then 30 years, that's 2. If you don't start putting in all that foundational work now, you're not going to see anything then. And the people who are going to be the workers, the people who are going to actually help us to create all these developments, they won't exist, which means we'll have to continue to be, which I absolutely am not happy about, importing people to come and do this work for us, which means our GDP is not cycling among us here. It will keep on going out. Yes, my other in my other life, I was also an engineer. So I also saw this firsthand. As an engineer, I did, constantly having to go and bring in labor, quote unquote, expert labor from outside. And I think to myself, all that taxation lost to us because that money is going to quote unquote experts, what we call them, expatriates outside that come and do the work. As somebody who is now trying to generate revenue in the state as a policymaker, I'm like, look at all that money that went out, money that should stay here. Other nations, they try their best to make sure that the money cycles in the nation. So yes, it's something that we need to start doing deliberate work on. So we need more people making noise because, like she said, unfortunately, we have a fire brigade approach. And the fire brigade approach is if we don't make noise, if things don't start, yeah, ring that bell, everybody becomes complacent and nothing gets done. So.
Now, Professor, every time that there's statistics about education, we hear that the number of children out of school is bulging. I think the figure right now is approximately 20 million children out of school.
Yeah.
What do you think is responsible? This is the 21st century. When we went to school, okay, it was not normal. It was not the in thing to educate the girl child. But things have since changed. I am 70 years old.
You are?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, you don't look it.
She don't look it, right?
Wow, you have great skin.
Yeah. First of all, we have to look at where most of those kids are.
Yes. On the streets.
She means location.
Trading.
Geographical location.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
geographical. Okay.
Yes. And I won't castigate them. I won't blame them. This is why. They believe that when you give your child Arabic education, it is education.
Yes.
So who are you to say they're wrong?
Or that they are not educated.
That they're not educated. So, however, with new governments being in place, you know, the El Rufais of this world, and, you know, they're seeing things differently. And I had the opportunity to work with a major university in the north. And believe me, a time will come when the South will have to run. Because the people that I encounter over there, their mastery, their control of their areas is mind-boggling. So for it to trickle down to those on the streets, it will take policies like Governor El Rufai is putting in place to, you know, gather them and put them in regular school, because Arabic school is not enough. So I think we have to tackle it regionally, because in the Southwest there's just a few, you know, the Southeast, and then but the North, we need to bring our brothers and sisters to the same level. and not hold us back.
But what will that take? Because what is instructive in what you have said now is, whether we like it or not, we must have elected officials from the 109 senatorial districts, including these areas that you're talking about. So if education is not at par and they have to deliberate on policies and stuff that will become laws, unless they sit down together and agree that, look, based on my level of education and on your level of education, this is the trajectory we should be going. If they don't agree, we're not going to have.
Yeah, but I think we're seeing that now.
Okay.
We're seeing Borno State. We're seeing, Sokoto State. We're seeing Kaduna. They're building, first-class schools, and making sure that education, English education, not Arabic, is available, to their people. So it's not going to happen overnight. We can't get 20 million students to go to school. And also, the economic problems that we're having right now is not helping. Because they need those children to be out there, to be bringing in some money for the families to feed. So we're not going to be able to, just outrightly, carry them all, bundle them and say, you're off the streets, you're not begging anymore, and so this is your life. We're not going to get that. But we have to keep an eye on it, that this year we have 20 million. Next year, factoring in increases in population, this is, where we are. And then next year, this is where we are. If we don't, what you don't, I think they say, what you don't watch doesn't change or something like that. So we have to watch it. I'm not sure who is watching it for Nigeria. We just keep hearing it's 10 million out of school, and then it's 13 million out of school, and then it's 20 million out of school.
Whether we like it or not.
Who's watching it?
UNICEF is always watching.
Yeah,
always give us those
but UNICEF is not going to
keeps the figures too.
Unfortunately. Now, Dr. Slough, a major catalyst to education today is technology.
Yes.
You need to be educated enough to use the technology to be educated with technology.
I don't know. I don't know if I totally agree with that.
If you don't know how to use the phone.
If you don't know how to use it,
if you don't know how to use it, if you don't know how to use it. Because I was going to say, even people who are quote-unquote illiterate, they know how to use their phones, which is another story. And I wanted to also add to what she said. A lot of the issues we have around our out-of-school students, we need to start redefining what school is and what education is. I really believe we're going to have to get to that place where we're going to have to change how we educate our students. It is not always going to be in the four walls of a classroom.
True.
That's something that really needs to start shifting. That we have to look at novel approaches to being able to reach and educate these students. And I'm happy that you brought up tech, because that's one of the things I was going to talk about next. That how do we start harnessing the power of technology to reach to these students? Well, they're not students right now, children, to these children. There's a lot that can be done. And also, we too also have to shift our mindset about what education means. We have this whole approach in education, the formal approach, where you go to school, you go through that primary school, secondary school, tertiary. It has to change. There's informal.
The same formula.
Yes, no. There's informal education. That education that exists when you're not in the classroom.
Apprenticeship.
Apprenticeship. When you're
COVID brought that to the fore.
Yes, when you're talking to your peers, when you're working with your parents, when you're working with people who you respect. There's education in so many ways, so many formats. Let us start seeing how do we harness that? How do we utilize that to reach these students? Like she said, you'll be amazed when you listen to these children. Give you an example. I have a ward that lives with me. And just the other day, because I'm very passionate about STEM, so I have a lot of STEM kits at home. And I also have a lot of drone kits, because I've been doing this over the years. I've amassed quite a number whenever I have programs for students, children, during the long vacation. And he said, can I get that? I want to work with it. And he brought it out. And this is somebody who struggles with literacy. That's why I made sure I harped on that, the fact that it's not always about reading complete all the time. Can you even use it? So he brought out one of those kits. I have this one that has to do with aeronautical engineering, putting together pieces, fashioning planes. I think one of them was one of that flying objects. And he gives them step-by-step pictorial, you know, this is how you do it. You put this piece here, you put this piece. This young man, in fact, I'm angry at myself. I should have recorded him.
Well, too late for that.
No, tonight, I'll make sure, I'll say, come, could you come and do this again? So he started putting it together. And I was sitting here typing out my emails, and I'm looking at him from the corner of my eye, and I'm like, wow, he's just putting in these pieces, and he's putting them in correctly. And then, every now and then, and I have pictures on my other phone, he would show me, look, I've done this. And I said, that's the power of when you actually get it and you own it, that agency, that, yes, I've done it. So I said, please, we need to take pictures. So that's why I gave him my phone. We need to take pictures of all these things you've done. And that reminded me that we should stop always looking at education as this straight linear process.
Which
it is
goes
not
back to the issue of policy.
Yes.
That we talked about the other time.
So which is that's why I say all of us.
My apologies. For instance, the national policy on education, I couldn't find technology in it. National policy on technology doesn't, I don't know if it acknowledges apprenticeship. I don't know if it acknowledges. So I'm looking for something that is futuristic, that in another 10 years from now, the average secondary school SS3 students should be able to couple a television together, for instance. These are the days of drones, of cameras, of these little things. So
these phones.
I'm wondering, how do we bring in technology to the national consciousness first and then drill it down to the states?
So I think the biggest thing is, let's continue to make noise. Let's hold everybody who is there accountable that these are the things you need to do. Simple. There's no two ways about it. Like I said, I had my defense this week. My professors held me accountable. I had a dissertation to present to them. But you know what they focused on? You're a policy maker now. You're one of the people who makes decisions for these teachers. You're one of the people who makes decisions for these students. Stop. Let's stop all these theoretical talk that we're talking right now. Let's talk about what are you going to do? Policy, now that you're there. You have access, you have ability. What are you going? All those three professors all held me accountable. We want you to do this. We want you to start thinking about this. And I thought about this. I said, you know what? This is fantastic. We could have gone through the whole dry theory of, okay, yeah, you did this in your paper, blah. No, they didn't allow me to stop there. None of them allowed me to stop there. This is what we want you to go back and do. So we need to start holding ourselves accountable. We need to have people who are going to shout and say, this is what we expect you to do. We need to start putting people in the right places too. That's another thing too. I know subtext, that's where you're getting to, and I'm also getting there too. That we need to have the right people who are in the right places. No, but that's so important. We need to have those right people. The older I get, the more I see how important it is. The right people there who can do this right work. So it's important.
Yeah, talking about the national policy, it takes time.
That's the question I was going to ask you anyway.
Yeah, it takes time to write, and then we live it for a few years, and then we know there's change, then there's a need to change, and to gather ourselves again, and then write a new one. But what is going on is this. There's a revolution that even industry is causing to happen. I was reading some time ago, in fact 2 days ago, what industry is actually looking for in people that they hire. And we realized that they're not even looking for university education anymore. It's, you know, what kind of thing can you do? Project management,
technical skills,
certifications,
skills, yes,
very quickly, get in, get it, know what you're doing, and get out. There is, you know, AI already, artificial intelligence. There's virtual reality, and there is robotics,
data science,
all of those.
Data science, ma.
Absolutely.
Don't worry, it's my area.
And big data, there's everything happening in technology that we haven't had the presence of mind to sit down. And maybe we cannot.
Yes.
Maybe we cannot.
Let's take one man that we already have, we have done, and we seem to have abandoned. we had gradations of tertiary education. We had technical education, we had polytechnics, and then we had the academics. Madam, how far so far with all those? Because it would seem like, okay, now everyone wants a BA or a BSc or whatever it is.
It's no longer possible.
But now that is the only thing.
But there are no more technical schools.
Well, technically, and I think Dr. Salah was going to talk about what they were doing.
Yes.
I'll take one thing that they were doing, and which helps technical education. Recent developments in Lagos State, where they have a new
Comprehensive
setup.
schools.
A comprehensive,
Comprehensive schools. I don't know where I'll talk to you about that. Mm-hmm.
So the comprehensive schools...
You have to pay. Please go ahead.
So the comprehensive schools are put in place to do just what we're talking about technical education. We've come to a realization that university education is not it.
No.
We have come to that realization.
Yes, sir. I mean, if anybody... no, I'm not talking about the government.
Okay.
I'm not talking about
researchers, professors
because I mean, I belong to a lot of
she belongs to a lot of groups
that are talking about these things. And what we have decided is, forget the government.
It's time to advise government.
Yeah, well, you advise
they
them,
form the policy.
They don't listen. So we're thinking, let's go out there, let's do it, let them see what we're talking about. Maybe then they will listen. So it's like lead by example, leading from below for the government by example. If you don't do that, it's not going to happen for Nigeria.
Prof, that's a problem for me. Here is why. If government, who is like we're saying that the knee should take the lead. You know, that's the way it sounds. And I do understand what you're saying, but there are those who are in technical, schools today, who are in polytechnics today, who feel like they don't belong, who feel like generally, mentally,
you know why?
It's out of place.
You know why? Because we have elevated the university education higher than the polytechnic and the trade.
You mean they? Because I didn't do it.
Okay, well, in fact, when I tell people, I went the technical route. I didn't go to university. I went the technical route. I went to Yaba College of Technology. And I traveled overseas, and I went to Northern Holloway. It was a polytechnic. Then it became a university. So I got my HNC there. And I did some,
What is HNC?
Higher National Certificate.
Okay.
Instead of Higher National Diploma.
Okay.
And then it's with that HNC that I entered my university for my MBA. And it's similar to what Finland does. You could go this route, which is university. You could go technical. You go up, and then you meet again at the top.
Wasn't that the design for the 6-3-4 system?
That's it. But you see, when you come out with an HND, you're on level 7.
Yeah.
The university graduate is on level 8. Who's going to want that? Nobody. So until we put our money where our mouth is, we recognize these degrees for what they really are, which is it's whether you go to university or you go to technical school, is, in the end, we're supposed to be the same.
I thought things had harmonized once HNDs began to serve on the youth service as well.
No. Because it's still, you see, the compensation is where it is. If you don't, yes, I serve at youth service, and then, we go to get our pay, and then I'm seeing, mine is one level, worse than yours. I wouldn't be encouraged.
I think it's a bigger problem than that, Ma. I'm sorry, Ma, to interject. The bigger problem is, whether we like it or not, there is a big disconnect between the way we look at blue-collar work and white-collar work. I'm sorry, I'm just going to call it out. And the universities, the academic universities, are geared towards white-collar work, whereas these technical colleges are geared towards blue-collar work, for the most part. And there's just this looking down upon Oh, people who are working with their hands, the artisans, plumbers, the construction workers.
That's where the money is at now.
I'm coming to that. Whereas the irony is that a plumber, not even just in the United States, they'll kill you. The money they'll charge
per
you.
hour.
Even here, I talk to these artisans all the time. I used to cross the border to go to Cotonou, to Benin Republic. They cross here because they're making so much money here in Nigeria doing work. By the time they sit down and calculate to you how much money they make when they go to these different sites and work, you'll be amazed. You ask yourself, you that you're sitting down, entering that bus or Uber, whatever, going to the office, and they that are quickly doing that work and coming out, the amount of money the amount of money they come out with. I know someone personally that bought 10 plots, an artisan, 10 plots of land. So one of the things I try to harp on to our students over and over now is, guys, there's no crime in saying you're not going to university. No. The most important thing in this life, above all else, is that you are a successful, economically viable adult, which means you have a roof over your head, you can eat. If you have young ones around you, you're responsible for them and you can take care of them. Yeah. That's all that matters.
Okay. Now, that's what government, that's what the people can do for themselves. Now to government. Prof was talking about policies and all those things. They speak to us, okay, now you can talk about the Lagos example. If you talk about it too much, you'll pay. Okay. Talk about the Lagos example, the gradation of, you know, because at the end of the day...
In a minute and a half.
No, I can do it. Oh, trust me.
At the end of the day, it's about human capital development.
Which is where I'm going. All right, so what we planned and what we've been doing in 12 schools right now is there's track A, where you're still learning your regular academic stuff. There's track B, while you're in school, you're learning these immediate skills: beauty, fashion, agri, construction, digital literacy, entertainment, these different skills. Right there in school, you're being taught with this equipment. Experts are coming to work with you. Opportunities for internship, because that's one really, really big part of the equation that's missing sometimes. Opportunities for internship, where you go and you're having hands-on experience. Yes. It was developed after the Finnish model. We actually have a partnership with Finland right now. So we have it in 12 schools right now across the state. We're going to be expanding.
Prof is grinning from ear to ear.
Oh, this is prof stuff. She loves it. So we're going to be expanding to 50 schools. Eventually, it will be 100 schools. And eventually, the ultimate aim is, just like we said, everybody's seeing that the children love this. It's very useful for the children. It begins to, trickle down. I don't like that word, trickle down. Stream, yes, you go. Stream into all these schools, and every parent, all these schools say, you know what, I want a part of this. And I tell people my story. When I was in school, my mother did not say, because you're in school, all you're doing is learning biology, chemistry. My mother was trying to push me to go and sew. And that's one of my greatest regrets till this date, that I did not follow through in going to go and learn to sew like my mother wanted me to. She also made sure that I went to go and learn how to type. That's why I'm very fast on the computer now. Like I can do multiple things. And that's why I was able to write my thesis real fast. I can bam, 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 I'm typing. People are like, oh my God, was that typing. And then when I finished school, she said, okay, I want you to go do this, do this. She would never just let you, oh, I learned this in school. Oh, I'm waiting for WAEC. No, no, no. Okay, they are going to go and learn this, you go and do it. I used to even work on my mom's sites with the workers, the construction workers. Yes, no, I'm very proud of that now. I'm very proud. Everywhere I go, I'm very proud. It made me appreciate what we're doing in engineering even more. So I'm happy that I had all the experiences. And I always encourage our youth to do that. I go to church, I encourage them, I tell them this is something you should do. You shouldn't just rest on, yeah, I'm waiting for WAEC, I'm about to enter university. Yes. Gain things you can do immediately, things you can use to make money, and you never know when you can come back to them. Personal experience, my cousin, when we were in the US, while she was in school, she was doing folks' hair. And also setting wigs too, setting them up. And she was making money, being able to fuel her car, being able to take care of a lot of things when she was in the States. Those are skills that are handy.
One of my closest friends was a medical doctor. She also sewed because her mother used to sew. She learned sewing from her mother. And she confessed to me that she made more money from sewing than from being a medical doctor.
I actually combined the two. I could type and I could sew. And when I was in the US, as a student, I would type $1 a page. That was in 80.
You see that? That's massive money. That's it.
Now, we have two mentors here who would give you not just
if you need their numbers for them to mentor you, get in touch with us.
We'll mentor you not only for education, but also some life skills, because ultimately that's what it's about. But the issues are right there in our faces, that the human development or human capital index in Nigeria needs to get better over time so that we can achieve the kind of national development that we all want. For now, we have to thank you for being here, Professor Abiola Awushika, an educationist. Thank you so much for being here and for your perspectives.
Thank you so much.
And Dr. Adetola Salao, wearing 3 caps. Thank you so much, and congratulations on your doctorate.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that's our conversation.
Very interesting conversation, I must add.
Yes, I mean, now you know there's a second one that's interesting. We're back after now to take on something similar to education, but a different angle. We'll be back after now.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, we're talking an endowment fund, and it's for a kids' school. Something very unusual is about to happen. St. Saviour's School Ikoyi is a British curriculum school of approximately 340 children.
Only?
Only. Okay. My secondary school had only 150 of us.
Wow. How many years ago was that?
30 per class, 5 classes, one arm for each class.
How many decades ago was that?
And there were 50 of us in the boarding house.
When we were growing up, when my own age, I think we don't enter 40 at that time.
Per class.
Per class. That the Christmas school.
So the school caters to children from Foundation 2, otherwise known as Reception, to Year 6, and delivers the English National Curriculum as part of a thoroughly rounded education set in a Nigerian context. So they have this endowment fund coming up, and they have a very unusual event through which they want to achieve it. And Lanre Oke, the program manager, Lagos Kids Mini Marathon, is here to talk to us about it. Good morning, Lanre.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey.
So the Lagos Kids Marathon is West Africa's only kids-focused mini marathon organized by St. Saviour's School.
Ikoyi, correct.
Mini marathon.
Mini marathon for kids.
For kids.
Marathon is marathon. You should not.
So maybe we should start the conversation from there.
Exactly.
So sincerely, there is no technical word as mini marathon.
Okay.
So we coined it based on, should I call it marketing and just for you to understand that
make it different.
Make it different, exactly. And for just for you to know that this is ideal for children. Because
so it won't be a full marathon anyway.
It's not a full marathon.
And remember marathon now.
That the host is a primary school. So there, should I say, there are different races within this race. So there is the 1.5 kilometer race that we expect the runners to be between the ages 7 and 8. Yes.
Can a 7-year-old run 1 kilometer?
Oh, definitely 1.5 kilometers. You'll be so surprised. This is the 4th edition we are having.
Oh.
Yes, this is the 4th edition.
Not even the first?
No.
Oh, okay.
And really, a big thank you to Channels. Channels TV has always supported us all through these 4 years. But we've always come through the sports, the sport program, yes. So, so the 7 to 8 years old will run the 1.5 kilometers. The 9 to 12 years old, they will do the 3 kilometer run, while the 15 plus will do the 5K, the 5 kilometer. And so basically, that's what the mini marathon is.
Even when I was in secondary school, as an athlete, a sprinter, I could not do the 1 kilometer.
Yeah, but you said as a sprinter. So
sprinters run
dashes. Yes. So this is a race of life.
How many schools are you expecting at this mini marathon?
So we're expecting about 150 schools.
Pause.
From where?
From all over Lagos. And so the previous editions, we've got schools come even from Shagam, that's that close to Lagos. And so when I say 150 schools will be represented, I mean children from from different schools. So it doesn't mean that the 150 schools will come as a whole. They
No,
don't
I mean,
necessarily
we know
come
it's
as a-
not the entire school that will show up.
Definitely,
Just the
definitely.
reps who are going to run the races.
Yes. Over 150 schools will be represented.
Wow.
So are they coming along with parents and guardians?
Yes, so parents are also invited to be part of this, because we've called this not just a children's run, but a family fun event. So we want, so in the past, parents come to cheer up their children. But the previous edition and this edition, we've decided to also have a walkathon in which parents can walk for 1 kilometer. You know, but
where are they going to run from? And where are they going to be running to?
Yeah, but because of the hustling and bustling, many of our parents have not run for a while. So so you can walk with your child for 1 hour.
Yes. So where are they going to be running from?
Okay,
where
from
are they
and
going to
to.
be running to?
Okay, so this for this edition, it's going to be at Eco Atlantic.
Okay.
So we're using Eco Atlantic, the city, because and thank you Eco Atlantic for supporting us, because of we want a very secured environment, and we want to assure everyone that it's secured.
And the children are safe.
The children are safe. We've also got security agency working with us, and that's one of the reasons. So it's one of we've cordoned off different parts of the city of Eco Atlantic City that will cover this should I say the distance, the 1 kilometer distance.
So you have an age range in mind?
We have what, sir?
Age range.
Oh yes, we have an age range in mind. So as I said, it's between ages 4 and so I say 4 because no. So I say 4 because from age 4, the age 4 and 5 can take part in the walkathon with their
parents.
With their parents. So they will just do a 1 kilometer walk. But the ages so that's 4 and 5. So 6 to 8 can do the 1.5 kilometer run, while ages 9 to 12 can do the 3 kilometers, while ages 15 and above 13 and above now can do the 5K. So really, So I'll say the age range is between age 4. So the moment if you have an age 4 in your house, they can actually find their way down to Eco Atlantic on Saturday. Please pre-register actually. So from age 4 till 15, 16. Yeah.
Well,
why are you having 15, 16? Because you don't have children in that age range in your school.
Yeah, exactly. You're correct. As you know, this is not just a St. Saviour's event. We want to open it to everyone. And when you go by the name Lagos Kids Mini Marathon, so it's not really St. Saviour's Kids Mini Marathon. It's a Lagos thing, and we want every child in primary and secondary education.
What did you call it? Say it again.
Lagos Kids Mini Marathon.
Okay.
Yes. So we want every child within the primary and secondary education to be part of this.
So I'm trying to imagine.
Sorry.
We'll come to the registration. I'm trying to imagine my 4-year-old.
Okay.
Walking for like 1 kilometer.
They
At
do
some
that.
point he's gonna say, Daddy, Daddy, carry me.
But should I shock you? So the first edition, we didn't have a walkathon, and we had. So it was a 1.2 kilometer run, and it was for ages 5 to 7. And should I shock you? The stars, I call them stars, or the champions within that category, many of them actually dashed that run. They didn't. I mean, they ran it as a dash. They didn't even jog. So they're actually strong, and that's why we've called it kids. Active Kids Rock. They are stronger than we think they are, and they can actually stretch. I can assure you, you won't be asked to. He or she won't ask you to carry him or her.
Really?
Yes.
I'm just trying to picture him now. Say, well, maybe when they see other kids running.
Exactly. That's another thing. When the excitement. The excitement in the air. As I said, we've done this. This is the 4th edition, and there's this. There's that energy that is contagious, and you just see this stuff.
So you said that there is a registration.
There is registration. Yes.
How? So tell us about that.
Yes, but there are 2 routes to registering. So you can register on our site, which is www.stsaviorsecoe-events.
St. Saviour's is ST dot or ST?
No, one word, ST. So St.
ST
Saviors.
Saviors.
Yeah, exactly.
No dot in between.
No dot.
And the
ST
Saviors is
Saviors.
spelled the English way, please, not the American way.
Correct.
With a U.
With a U.
www.stsaviors
Ikoyi.
Ikoyi
ST Saviors Ikoyi.
Events.com. So yes, please go to register on St. Saviors Ikoyi Events.com. So that's the first option. The second option is to register through your school, in which you can register through your school. You can we've sent information to schools, and in case you are a school and maybe you've not received any of our letters, you can contact us via email. Is register.lkmm@gmail.com, or contact us on social media. Lagos Kids
LKMM for Lagos Kids
Mini Marathon. Correct. So, or contact us on social media.
Register at
www.
No, the email address
is register.lkmm@gmail.com.
Okay. Register.lkmm@gmail.com. But the website again is
www.
Please use 3.
Exactly.
ST Saviors
Ikoyi.
ST Saviors Ikoyi
Events.com.
Correct.
All one word.
All one word. Yeah.
Okay.
And then register.lkmm@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah. So they can .com. And you can follow us on social media. Okay. Is at Lagos Kids Run. So simple. Lagos Kids Run.
Lagos Kids Run, one word.
One word.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the site, right? That's your website.
Yes, that's our website. Correct.
Okay, so how people will register, it's all there on the page.
Correct.
That's the top. Okay, so that's it.
That's
where, and how you can register. Okay.
What date is this thing taking place?
It's next week Saturday. That's the 26th of November.
26th November.
Start at 7 a.m.
Okay, you said there is an endowment fund.
Correct.
Okay, so tell us about that.
So the endowment fund, as when you check dictionary or the Wikipedia definition, is set up to support a charity. And I'll say that I was talking with the chairman of the planning committee yesterday, and the vision is to be like the Harvard endowment, the Oxford University, the Harvard University endowment.
We're ambitious.
Exactly. All things are possible.
Okay.
Yes, to be like, because if you look at what endowment fund, what they do abroad in the West, I know it's not very common in our part of the world, but in the West is they want to make, they want to make their, they want to make their vision, or let's say they want to make the Harvard kind of education possible for the common man. They want to keep that education at that level. And that's exactly what the St. Saviour's Endowment Fund is aimed at doing. Primary education or quality education is not cheap. Quality education is not cheap. And they are raising, not just want to raise, they are raising children that can compete with anyone in the world. Back to back, St. Saviour's School Ikoyi has won the international school sport event that happens in Dubai every year. They've won about, I think, 4 years back to back now. These things are not cheap, and not everyone might be able to fund this. So part of the vision of the endowment fund is to ensure that this standard is kept, and to ensure that because St. Saviour's School Ikoyi is a charity, and to ensure that this charity is well funded.
So how do people be a part of this fund?
So you can be a donor, you can donate, you can, and that's why if you look at the website, we essentially didn't make the website all about the marathon. That's why it's, you can see that it's ikoyievents.com, because we want to, the marathon is just one of the platform that we'll be using as endowment fund to meet our goals. But yes, but to be part of us, drop us a mail, follow us on social media, and we'll be able to contact you.
Donate. The endowment, the kids run is only one of the avenues you're using to raise funds for this
Exactly.
endowment. What are the others?
Yeah, and I must say, you know, in as much as the Kids Run is one of their venues, it's not the registration of the Kids Run that we use to raise funds. So it's just a platform because, you know.
That sounds like you have to pay money to register.
Yeah. Registration is not free.
Yeah.
Registration is 10,000 naira. But if you know, we also have, because of the charity side, if you feel you really want to participate in this run and you feel you can't afford this, or you feel your students might not be able to afford this, drop us an email and let's see what we can do. As I said, the marathon itself is just a platform for the fundraiser. But to answer your question, in the past we've had things like homecoming, we've had concerts, we've had fundraising dinner, you know, and there are lots of other creative events that will be coming up.
What do the winners win?
Yeah, so every participant will get a medal. As long as you pass through that finish line, you get a medal. But for the winners, the first three, permit me to say gender in every category. So that means the first boy, the first, second, third boy, the first, second, third girls in every category will have a cup, you know, and this is, you can obviously take the cup to your school or keep it at home. It's your
Sounds like a trophy, because when you say cup,
yes.
you can just use it to drink.
Sorry, not a glass cup, not a glass cup. Sorry, a trophy. So yes, so you get a trophy, and there are also very good gifts from our sponsors. So we've got our sponsors do fund different segments and give you some mouth-watering gifts and awards.
Well, mouth-watering sounds
Mouth-watering gifts from sponsors.
I have to eat it, but
okay.
I can tell.
All right then. So St. Saviour's Endowment Fund and their Kids Run, Kids Mini Marathon.
Lagos Kids Mini Marathon.
And if you want to register, please go to register.lkmm@gmail.com.
Correct.
And their website is www.stsavioursikoyievent, all one word, .com.
Thank you.
You'll get all the information you need there. And this mini marathon is taking place at Atlantic City on the 26th of November at 7 a.m.
And it's for children ages 4 to 15. 4 years old, please, not 4 months. Just to.
Exactly, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lanre Oke, Program Manager, Lagos Kids Mini Marathon. That's not a tongue twister.
Thank you so much
for coming to tell us about this event. Good luck next weekend.
Thank you.
So while we are on air, you will all be running at Atlantic City.
Exactly.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Sunrise will be back in a moment to look at something very interesting. And it's under our lifestyle segment. We have a stylist coming in to talk to you about how to dress, what to wear,
if you
and
dress
stuff like that. See you soon.
Thank you very much.
I've often been curious how musicians identify themselves with certain specific kinds of dressing. I mean, look at Michael Jackson. He always wore certain kinds of stuff.
One glove.
James Brown.
Shine, shine.
Okay, that's Michael Jackson, shine, shine all the time. Then James Brown, the big bottoms and all those things. And then come to contemporary Nigeria. The videos have certain specific identities. The persons have certain specific identities. And I hear colors now that I have not heard before.
Gradually coming to mind is D'banj.
Okay.
He likes these longish kind of jackets. And because he's so tall, when he walks in, you're bound to turn around. Who is that?
Like some matrix figure, right? and I hear colors today. Cockroach brown.
Amala brown. Onion purple.
all kinds of things these days.
Mama brown. There's Mama brown.
There's
too.
Mama brown.
There's Mama brown.
Different from cockroach brown.
Yes. Yes.
I wonder what name they'll give mosquito color.
Mosquito. What color is mosquito?
Mosquito red.
Black or green? Grey. Mosquito green.
All of that is in this conversation. This is the first time we'll be talking about fashion and styling for our lifestyle. And Toyi Adeniro joins us this morning. He's a fashion creative. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. That hair says it all. You know.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. For having me.
So there is fashion, there is dressing, there is styling.
Style.
It would seem like, I mean, for anyone they're the same, right? But for professionals, are they the same?
No, they are not. They are not the same. So I'd say dressing, anybody,
Can dress.
random person can just dress up. Because why? They need to dress up to probably cover up themselves and to prevent some climatic or environmental features, and they're out. So that's all about that. And when it comes to fashion for some people is their lifestyle. I mean, it has really become part of them that they can't take a risk. And every moment of their life, like
You have to look in a particular
you have to
way.
look a particular way. That is fashion to them. So talking about the styling now, that is where you have to take it top notch. Yeah. So for styling, for some people, they need to create this particular brand for everybody to see, as an artist, as a singer, as a business owner as well. And
So everybody's style is different.
yes, it's very, very different. So
Okay.
that is where you have someone, or you dream it and someone help you carve it out, and you have it all there.
It reminds me of, I don't know, you would remember this fella, Elvis Presley. It's like there's an Elvis Presley day in the US. Everyone wants to look like Elvis Presley at the time.
It's big in the US.
Very, very big. And then there's another angle. Mr. Dino, if you can speak to us about that. Politicians also seem to want to look in a particular way. I'm just, putting this out there. There is now a particular style they call senator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that also deliberate?
I would say, yeah. Due to the politics aspect, they feel it is easy for them. It is that, like, their smart outfit.
Okay.
So instead of them wearing better senator styles, like smart, normal up and down, and you're out with your cap. So for them, it's like when you're wearing suit as an English person.
Okay.
So for our own Nigerian politics, so that's like their own suit, ready.
That's the uniform.
Uniform for most of them. So
okay. What is the correct uniform for one to wear for a man to wear to work?
honestly, depends.
Uniform in quotes.
Yeah, depends on the kind of work we're talking about here.
Okay.
If it's a corporate organization, of course, you have to look set up, dress corporate. If it's for people like government workers, I would not even tie them as corporate, because government workers are like, they're free to do whatever they want to do.
Really?
So
Well, perhaps because, as you said, perhaps based on whatever the government office determines, right?
Yes. So let me speak from personal experience. I have friends that work at government office, and Monday to like look serious, but from Wednesday to Thursday they do anything. I'm like, oh really?
Then on Friday, of course, is
Completely dressed down.
Native and
Dressed down,
yeah,
up
dressed
and
down,
up and down.
And I'm like, okay, really? So depend on the kind of where you're working from, or what your corporate organization is about.
There's an issue my colleague raised earlier, when we were introducing the entire program. And I'm sure you have seen this as well. What I bought versus what I got. Where someone actually sees a particular material, a dress,
A style.
okay, on Google,
Internet.
just, man, I love this, I want to wear it. And then you sew it. You are measured, you sew it. And you look like some kind of scarecrow in it. Does that have you had that kind of experience before when people say, I like this and I'd like to wear it?
Yes, yes. And it's very, very, very funny to me when I hear about this. Oftentimes, if okay, it's fine when you see a particular style online and you want to put it on as well. So you can't be a size 12 and you think you want to fit into size 8 kind of dress. One. Then secondly, if you're making a style, you need to understand your body type. It matters a lot. And it's painful when I see it online, to me, it's funny. Then again, are you guys don't say, man, understand your body type. Then again, does your tailor or designer, is he or she fit enough to bring this style out? You don't just because I see some stuff online and I want to bring it to my own taste. Maybe, yeah, but then you need to understand, will it fit? Can I tweak it to maybe not exactly like that? Maybe pick some part of it and make you about the whole stuff and you want to know. So I think for me, it is them not thinking about what they want, really. It's just more like love at first sight.
Incidentally, you say you're a fashion creative.
Yes, ma'am.
What exactly do you do?
I sew, I design, and I style.
For men or for women?
Both.
Both?
Yeah. So for any special occasion, for events, red carpet and all.
Talking about events.
Red carpet?
Yeah, we'll come to that. Ooh. Talking about events.
Up market, are we?
In my head right now is a wedding.
Okay.
And people wear all kinds and design all kinds or style all kinds to these weddings. And there are some who are, quote unquote, offended by the mere sight of some nakedness that people put on to social events such as that. And it raises a question of the incursion of fashion into culture or foreign influence into culture. What's your take on that? Is that a problem, or is it just fashion on mobility?
Okay, so you made mention of something now, Western influence. So personally, I don't have a problem with that. It's a wedding, of course. So meanwhile, let's not forget, fashion is wide and anybody's allowed to dress the way.
Create.
Yeah, be creative. So talking about the decency part now, I mean, we can't really hurt anybody or ask them to leave. That is what they choose to. Now, it is now on time. That is what you want people to see you for, your image. So if you go for a wedding and you see someone dressed a particular way, you have no right to be.
Yeah, no. The question I'm asking is that of culture. How there are those who perceive that such dressing denigrates culture, because there are some cultures that frown at such outlook, if I can use the term.
Thank you. Some culture. I'll still say right now, culture is there. But we've buy this whole idea of Western influence. So culture can't really fine. They can frown at it, but nothing they can do about it. There's nothing.
So it can't even be legislated against.
How? You can't. You can't. So that's why I would say it is on you as a person what you're trying to portray. If you think culture will be fine, we'll find out it's fine. If you think you're okay with it, it's good.
I saw a picture on social media of 3 ladies, undergraduates in the late 60s. Of course, all prim and proper. The sleeves were down here, the skirts were down here. And the comment was, before the devil took over universities.
Yeah.
As a stylist, how when you look at maybe I should ask you this way. What are some of those things that you have seen in the name of fashion and style that you wonder, how could people go out that way?
Okay. A practical example, yeah? A practical example, it's this last weekend, GT Fashion Week. Sometimes I walk backstage with them, but this year I was up. And I saw some videos of guys, they call it alternative wears. So it's you wearing anything, not the normal way. So imagine me wearing a skirt with high heels.
You're a guy?
And a guy. Imagine me wearing a 2 gown. Yeah, with a scarf. Nothing is wrong with scarf. I personally, I feel it's fashion. But then the other part of me will be like, what is this? But honestly,
a guy in a
Dress, tube gown,
And high heel shoes.
high heel shoe, with makeup on.
We'll pray for him not to fall down on those high heel shoes.
No, that's the thing. They carry it so well. They carry it so well.
They do.
They carry it so well.
Okay.
And so in that aspect, I feel like I have a bit of issue, a little bit, but this is my business. So, but they have like, I mean, it's a way of them expressing whatever they
But
want.
will a guy actually go out dressed like that?
No.
That's it.
No,
It's
no,
for
no.
it's a special occasion.
Thank
it's
you.
an
It's
event.
an event, so you're allowed to.
You're allowed
express
to
yourself.
be out
But when you're going out, you
outrageous
can't.
as you want.
can. But now lately, guys wear crop top now. It's just like this hotel of say what we have in the oldies are coming back to limelight. So you see, guys. I think most of the artists they have a way of influencing stuff too on people. Burna Boy was the. I mean, I saw him putting on crop top on stage. And like second week, we have guys.
He's an entertainer.
We have guys wearing it out.
Anything he wears is acceptable.
And people buy the idea as
because
well.
he's an entertainer.
And then so he influences other people to wear to weddings. Anyway.
Well, other people
No, yes,
will not
they will.
wear it to a wedding.
No, they will. Because we have weddings with a theme now. Owambe or garden wedding or a something lounge. Yeah, they do. It's a wedding, they do. So this culture of influencing, yes, and he heals now. He heals. She's like a
Let
normal.
me ask you, Toye, what are those things that you think, as a stylist, that you would advise anyone who wants to look good and respectable at any event? What are the things you would ask the person to consider? You've talked about body type and all of that the other time. What are the things that you think anyone who wants to look good and respectable out there, going out, should look, and they still want to be unique?
All right. First, I would like to say they should, of course, their body type. Know what you're comfortable with. It's very, very important. And again, what your personality too matters. You need to know, okay, am I the reserved type? Am I the stylish type? Maybe you just want to help you push it out. Because if you don't know this, you'll still be wandering around. And again, do you have a trusted stylist that you believe you can trust him or her with your life? Like, okay, anything he or she says, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, there are some people whose stylist is just a tailor.
That's what people need to know. That is what people need to know. Actually, people don't know the difference between. People don't know the difference between a tailor, a designer, and a stylist. They don't know.
Tell us the difference.
All right. Okay. A designer come first.
Okay.
I sketch.
Okay. The designer sketches.
Yeah, that is what you do. Now take it to a tailor.
Okay.
A tailor will bring that out
to life. Okay.
Then a stylist will come and take it. What accessories do you want to use? What makeup should we have on?
Oh.
Okay, I saw this dress. Okay, can we add this a tail to something? Or okay, you know what? Remove the sleeve. That's the work of the stylist. So stylist will work with the tailor.
But there's no point me going to a designer, the dress being designed, the tailor making it, and then the stylist now comes and says, let's take the sleeve off or let's add a tail to it.
That's why they have to work hand in hand together.
Okay.
So the stylist might not have a say if the cloth is ready-made. So, of course, you just go shop and pick what you think is nice for your client, and that's it.
So, if I go to a shop,
yes,
I love the dress. I don't care about my body type.
Okay. You have to care. You have to care, really. You have to care.
Okay.
Or else you look horrible in it. People won't be nice to tell you to your face. Well, they'll just like, now normal.
So you need to know.
What's she wearing?
Yeah.
The fact that you see it and you like it doesn't mean you have to wear it.
I've seen a lot of stuff I love so much, but I can't. I mean, well, let's not forget this part where we see anybody can wear anything. I have a friend, big top of big size. Give it to her, she'll rock it. Why I can't do it. I won't be comfortable because whatever you're wearing, you need to feel like okay, you have the charisma to take it. You have the full confidence to like, you know what, let me work it and all that. But if not, don't. You might love it, yes, but don't.
How about colors? There are those who feel that black always generates
safest color.
Yeah.
Safest.
It is.
and it is also generates heat.
Yes.
There are those who believe that. So
That's if you're wearing black.
choices of colors.
Yeah, it matters. But when it comes to black, it's a general, no, yeah, you can never go wrong with black. I love black. You can never go wrong. But then choice of fabric matter. I can wear black all through the week without having to feel like there's heat. That's why we have the likes of different fabrics choice, which I mean I can't go really deep into it. There's Dutches that when you wear you don't even feel anything, and there's some thick material you wear, the next 1 hour you want to like put it off. So now as a person, if you're light skinned, you have some colors you would know. Apart from me saying, oh, black is my favorite color, white is my favorite color, we know that, everybody, but then what can work with your skin? What will look suit on your skin and all that? So that's more on personal ground. So if you're a light-skinned person, if I'm the person, I'd rather go for some cool color.
For a light-skinned person?
Yeah, because I'm already...
So you're talking about...
You're already bright.
Brown and grey,
yeah,
black.
Those are sweet color. You love the outcome, like mint green, like Tatase red. Like, cockroach brown, yes.
Brown.
And we have the likes of people like...
So what about for a dark person?
Like us.
Like my color, yes.
Brown skin.
Yes.
Like what you're wearing, I love it. It's pronounced and it sits well on your color because you are cool, so you can place it with bright colors too. You can place it with it, so you're in between. You have the advantage of rocking the two together. But now what you now use to accessorize it is what makes it cooler.
What about a fair person wearing bright red, Tatashi red?
Tatashi red, yes. Then if you are doing that, you have to try by all means to
tone it down
with your accessories.
Okay.
Tone it down. Your makeup, tone it down. Only if you have this particular event you're going to. Like you're going for a ball event, you're going for a red carpet, of course, you have to shine. So go with all your glory and shine.
You have to shine.
You have to shine, go with all your glory and show yourself, but then you have to keep it minimal, because when you're on red carpet, it's fine in person, but when we're seeing a picture or video, people won't see that.
Now,
talk to me about that less is more,
philosophy.
It's always safe, actually. It's always safe. It's some people will say you're play safe or you're trying to not do too much. No. It's always safe for you to keep that in mind. When you do less, you shine. When you do more for some kind of people, depend on the occasion, actually. Depend on the kind of occasion. You can't just do more for it. So
every occasion.
So right now I know I'm coming ahead this morning. On a normal day, I'll keep it like, okay, let me give you some band kind of style. Let's give drama. But it's a money interview. Don't drama. Don't.
Okay, so time of day also matters.
It matters.
In what you
and the
wear.
nature of the
and
event.
The nature of the event you're going for, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Some people keep it classic, some people keep it like very relaxing, some people keep it very dramatic.
Allow me to embarrass myself here for the first time. I was going to a club and I wore Iru and Buba. Anyway, that's history.
I've had
it's history. Don't look at me like that.
I've had a story of someone who went for an interview and wearing Ankara like up and down. Like, who does that?
Well, he did. No, not Iru and Buba. He said Buba and Shuka.
A man.
A man. Why would you do that?
Well, he did. There's nothing you can do about that. He did. Now,
lastly, but he was not properly dressed for the occasion.
Okay, we hear you.
It is wrong.
So, lastly, warning for anyone, things that you need to consider before you choose the dresses you're wearing. If you can do that in 30 seconds.
Skin color type. You need to be sure. Your skin and the colors that go there. Body type for both gentlemen and ladies. It's very, very important, like very, very, very body type. And a trusted tailor or designer. So what else? I think that's a major factor.
Event, right?
Yeah, and the event you're going for, of course.
Sounds like you're saying pot-bellied men should not wear suit. Don't even answer that one.
No, you can wear this girdle. There's girdle for pot-bellied men. Yeah, there's always a girdle.
Oh, men wear girdles.
I'd rather do without.
I didn't know that.
So I didn't know. Fashion Creative, thank you so much.
Thank you for
being on
me.
Lifestyle this morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for answering some of my partner's questions. Well, it's time. Don't look at me like that. It's time for us to take the, what you call it now?
The home stretch.
We'll be back after now. Stay with us. guest who is taking us home. That's supposed to be you, actually. Why am I the one talking? You're
Go ahead.
I
I was enjoying the drumming and
because I'm.
carry, Omo, carry.
You just listen, of course.
By the way, she's Africa's foremost female drummer.
Benny. That's what she.
Oh, that's what she said. Oh, you understand the language of the drum?
Of course. That's why it's called talking drum. It talks.
But I don't understand what it says.
Well, she began by singing "Ewo mi etu mi wo awa ki shomo komo tindale ewo mi etu mi wo." Look at me and look at me again. We are not one of those children that scatter house. Aralola Olamuyiwa, thank you so much for being here this morning. She's commonly known by her stage name, Ara. Singer, entertainer, talking drummer, and the cultural ambassador of the Oni of Ife. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, ma'am and sir.
What? You're still engrossed? Okay.
Yes, I am. And this happens to me every time I have to talk to Ara.
Oh, really?
Because I am just in awe of how something that was the exclusive preserve of men for centuries, this lady was able to break into, and not just break into it, she mastered it. So I'm in awe.
Thank you, ma'am.
So what's your prime source of inspiration?
My prime source of inspiration is the fact that God has blessed me with the rare gift and the privilege to be able to use my instrument to make positive change in life in general.
For those who don't know,
Yes.
who have never heard you talk about this before, how come you chose drumming? Or is it drumming that chose you, as some people often say?
Okay. The response I gave Professor Wole Soyinka to the same question is that the drum chose me. Ayo chose me. And it's a rare privilege for me because according to my father, His Imperial Majesty the Oni of Ife, during the last Anyagalu festival that was held in Ile-Ife and promoted by His Olori Aderonke Ademilu Ogunwusi, we were told, because other female drummers went as well, we were told that the first Anyagalu was a female. Yes, I got to know about that for the first time myself because I had always thought it was male. But something happened, you know, just like in our Yoruba myth, yes, that she was upset about something and left Ile-Ife. She was taken to Oyo by Atiba. And guess what? I am a direct descendant of Oba Abiodun Atiba. So my father, His Imperial Majesty the Oni of Ife, told me, you are Anyagalu. And that's why you have been able to take it from where it was to the next level.
So you are a reincarnate right now? Should we be pouring
oh my God, don't go there.
Oh, Ara, you have been in this business for as far as I can remember, as long as I can remember.
Yes, ma'am.
How is it that you always manage to reinvent yourself? And in the face of many fizzling out, you're still there and you're still relevant. How do you do it?
Thank you very much, ma'am. For me, the talking drum is beyond just entertainment. Before it became a musical instrument, it was first a means of communication. So for me, being able to reinvent myself is aided first by God. Secondly, by the fact that as the trend changes, it is imperative for me to carry the new generation, younger generation, along with me. How will they feel attracted to this musical instrument, knowing that our culture and tradition has been demonized in some areas? So for me, I had to think about what to do. And our culture is our DNA. It is who we are. I tell people, for as long as culture is relevant, ARA will be relevant because our culture is who we are, our way of life, from our fashion to everything about us. So let me take the aspect of fashion. It's why I had to reinvent my hair and looks at some point to suit them, for them to be able to warm up to, hey, this talking drum, what is it about? So, and then I had to adapt a different way of playing to new genres of music that they love. So it's a consistent and conscious effort for me to make sure that I keep the culture alive. I call it trending culture.
You have now aroused my curiosity. Adapting to different genres of music.
Yes, ma'am.
That will appeal to the younger generation.
Yes.
Ta-da. Go ahead. I want to hear you.
Okay, it has to play. For instance, I need to hear a song and play to it. It's still the same way I play, but I could hear a Burna Boy now and play to his music. I could hear Davido and play to his music and recreate something around, maybe just pick 1 or 2 lines and recreate around it. And then when they hear it, they love it. The generation of people who listen to their music love it. If you see what the late Majek Fashek did with reggae, he introduced the talking drum to reggae, and the entire world accepted it. What I did with Stevie Wonder in 2004 was also blending my talking drum to his kind of music, which was widely accepted as well. So it's been a conscious effort for me, like I said, to keep it going, to keep the trend, to keep upping my scale, you know. Yes, ma'am.
Who taught you how to play the talking drum?
Who taught me how to play the talking drum? I learned the talking drum by watching the guys play because they refused to teach me. So I watched them play. Then I bought a few music of people that I look up to in the industry. My father had a huge collection, from Fela to Ayinla Omowura to Yusuf Olatunji to King Sunny Ade and everybody. So I learned to play to them. So I listened to even Lagbaja when I was, you know, playing, because I love Lagbaja a lot. So I listened to all of their music, and I trained my ear to listen differently and play differently.
Well, you definitely have to be a little, what's that word you use? Cuckoo.
Before you even go there, I'm not surprised that the men refuse to teach her how to play.
Because you will outshine them.
That's the way you all are.
Oh.
I don't know about the men, but you know, I don't know about me. But you know, you have to be a little cuckoo to with Lagbaja. I mean, for instance, this guy fused Fuji and high life,
jazz,
everything,
orchestra.
Okay, yes.
I beg. So he will come and answer his own question.
Yes. Okay.
I listened to a song by Kirk Franklin.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember the song. I think it was in his Revolution album.
Okay.
And I heard something like talking drum.
Okay.
Is it digitized? Well, they started, Jesus, you are my joy within, something like that. At the beginning of the song only. And it sounded like,
oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I still have the picture in my head of that sound.
Okay.
You know, so is there a way that talking drum has been digitized?
Definitely, it has been.
Already?
Oh, yes, it has been, but it's not the same.
Of course it cannot.
This is the real McCoy.
This is the real
Sleep
McCoy.
and death cannot be the same.
That's 2 extremes. So it's not the same.
So,
yes, it mimics it to a large extent, but the joy of seeing the talking drummer playing it, the dexterity, the movement, you know, all of that can be gotten from a machine. Yeah.
Oh, come on. It's a talking drum. How can digital talking drum talk? Anyway.
Well, they tried to make it talk.
They did try. They did try.
Because there are some music things in talking drum. The pitch bends are very, very peculiar when it's live.
Yes.
For instance, can the digital talking drum do Benny? Cannot. And then there is a new genre now that you talking drummers do. You sing with the talking, so it's no longer a talking drum, now it's singing drum as well.
They can do all.
People did try. But recently I found that you are interested in something else other than talking drum.
Yes.
What is this?
Thank you very much. It's called Inspire Me Academy.
Like you were inspired?
I was inspired. But this very one is the Ara Passion Project. It was born out of a personal experience I had in Oshodi with area boys about 10 years ago. During my interaction with them, they said to me, I asked them, what inspires you? Who inspires you? They mentioned names of different celebrities. But then one of them mentioned Professor Wole Soyinka. And I said, you want to be like Professor Wole Soyinka? How come?
How?
Yeah, he said, Baba man so Baba man jab. You know, not a man jab. Like, that man speaks big English. So which means I want to be educated.
Yes.
You know, so I said, wow. 10 years down the line, which happened late last year and this year now, because we did the unveiling on the 19th of October here in Lagos. I did everything, moving from place to place. You know, it's never been done. So apart from Pastor Tony Rapu, who has worked with the drug addicts on the street and is doing a fantastic job with that, I said there is more to this, because empowering them and not giving them a lifeline, a source of livelihood, engage and empowering them is like giving them poison, as far as I'm concerned. So we wrote to different organizations, we wrote to different people, different governments. But let me say something, and I say this with all joy and appreciation in my heart. His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, I had written letters, I had sent messages. Then months down the line, I just received the call one day. I was driving in Agege. I nearly entered gutter. When I saw it, I'm like, he said, talk to me about this project. He was patient with me. He called me. He gave me 30 minutes of his quality time to talk to him about this project. He said, we want people like you in Lagos State. We want, this is applaudable, this is a welcome idea. Write your proposal today. You know, we'll give you all the institutional support and all of that. So we did that, and we were given the endorsement letter in December, because it's a kind of project that we can't do without them, without government. And a lot of people have said to me, Ara, forget it, they won't allow you to do this. Just don't even go there, you know. But it shocked everybody. And I want to say thank you, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Thank you so much, sir. We took it up. He called me again after seeing, you know, I think he saw online what we were doing, and he gave me 1 or 2 words of advice on how to go about it. And I can tell you it has worked. We were in Abeokuta with former President Olusegun Obasanjo. President Obasanjo hosted 25 of these people, area boys and girls, in Abeokuta. Mentored them for hours, shared his own personal experience with them. We had a couple of emotional moments, people crying, people talking about what they've been through, people saying, oh, they've been to prison, oh, we've done. Baba said, I've been to prison too. But I became the president of this country. We had, you know, people saying, oh, there have been a lot of very touching moments. So what are we doing? What have I been doing? Going to different flashpoints, especially the ones very close to me, because I mean, charity begins at home, very close to my neighborhood. I've been talking to them. As I speak, 8 of them are in Ilaro prison because they slapped somebody and they gathered all of them. I was in Abeokuta again yesterday to meet with the prison PRO, you know, and to talk about how to, you know, how we can get them, because it's a billable offense, but there's nobody to stand shorty for them, you know. So we are reorientating them, giving them that hope that they feel is lost. We are rehabilitating them. And then we're working on reintegration, on how they will come back to the society
something you said
as a better
now,
person.
My apologies. Something you said now that we perhaps need a little, because I was wondering exactly what's the fulcrum of this whole thing. It came from your experience, but what are we promising them? Okay. I remember that in the Marwa days, when General Marwa was governor, well, administrator of Lagos State, he had this Good Boys and Good Girls project. I'm sure you remember it. Pulling all of these quote-unquote area boys and girls away from the streets and taking them to some centers to give them some training. Teach them some skills, start bakeries, flowers, gardens, and all those things. So what are we promising them? Because it is one thing to take them out. It's another thing to keep them out.
Thank you very much. The first thing is this. We are profiling them. There are those who want to go back to school. And I can tell you that Chief Olusegun Obasanjo has told me any one of them that wants to go back to school, amongst the ones we brought, he would welcome them in the school.
Wow.
Yes. We are profiling them. There are some of them who cannot go back to school. We are looking at getting them like adult education to at least be able to read and write their names. There are those who want to learn some skills. and we are empowering them. There are those who want to go into sports. There are those who have talents to sing, to act, and all of that.
And to beat the talking drum.
And to beat the talking drum. There are those who want to go into business, entrepreneurship, and all of that. So we have like 5 faculties. Let me also say that we are working on our reality TV show for them, where we'll bring them on for 6 weeks. But the beauty of our project is that 60% of the activities and tasks will be out of the house. But the academy in itself, and we are still hoping to have, well-meaning Nigerians and organizations support us. The academy in itself, we have the facility for hostel. We have the facility for where they can learn the different skills and education and all of that, so we can properly monitor them.
Where's the academy?
We don't have one.
That's the aim.
Aim, yes.
Okay.
So
support.
Yes.
If you're watching today and you want to support ARA,
yes.
How?
You can reach me through my email, talkingdrumq@gmail.com. Talkingdrum, Q meaning for Queen.
Okay.
talkingdrumq@gmail.com, or on my Instagram page, I am AraDrummer1. That's my Instagram page. Or on my Yahoo mail, Ara Entertainment Group @yahoo.com. So, do I give a number?
No. So that you can sleep in the night. Essentially, what you are trying to do here is mop up as many
area boys and
hopeless
girls.
people.
One at a time.
One at a time, away from the streets, so that we can have a safer country.
A safer community, a safer, a tourist-friendly, investor-friendly. You and I can sleep well at night. You and I can go out at night and not be afraid that we're going to be busted in the traffic.
Yes.
And because during our interactions in the last 10 years, they tell us, they said government doesn't care, we don't care, but now they know that there's a government that cares, which is Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
And let's hope that this also percolates to all governments across the country.
Chief Olusegun Obasanjo just said, he said, Ara, look beyond Lagos. And it's called a co-inspire me because we're having it in Lagos. If Ogun calls us tomorrow, it will be Ogun inspire me. If Oyo calls us, it's Oyo inspire me. If Ondo calls us, it's Ondo. And Baba said something, Ara, look beyond Nigeria. Look at Africa, because this is not peculiar to Nigeria only. It's everywhere in the world. And one day you never can tell. You might become, we might be going to other African countries for this, but charity begins at home.
Culture ambassador.
Well, so we have 20 seconds.
Good.
What's next for ARA, aside from Inspire Me?
Yes. What next for ARA? ARA has an event December 15th. Aju, the journey of the talking drum. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the venue. I'm inviting everybody to come watch the journey of the talking drum. It's generally talking about my story. If you watch the last NAFest in Lagos State, Eko NAFest, I had a couple of female drummers as young as 5 years, 8 years, and all of them on stage with me. So that we're going to be seeing a lot of them competition. They're going to be winning prizes, and a command performance by ARA herself, the journey of the talking drum.
And ARA featured prominently in the drum festival.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
well, we don't even need to go very far. Now that you've given us your Instagram page and emails, we get all the information we need to get.
Thank you.
We have to thank you very much for coming this morning.
Thank you.
Female singer, well, she's female. Singer, entertainer, talking drummer, and cultural ambassador of the Ooni of Ife. Once again.
Africa's foremost female talking drummer.
Thank you very
Please
much.
never forget to add that.
Born in Lagos, hails from Ondo State. Yeah, I had to add that one as well. Thank you again for
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, ARA.
Yes,
and that winds up our program for today. Thank you very much for spending this time out with us. I'm Alero Edu, wishing you a very happy weekend and a happy week ahead. See you next Saturday with a fresh edition.
And I'm Ayo Makinde. Don't forget the elections are upon us. You play your part. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. CVR.inecnigeria.org.
See you next week.
Yeah.